Hello and welcome to TCB MLS, a podcast devoted to the MLS. Yes, I am Sam Turner, your resident football hipster, and I am back for this MLS podcast because we haven't had one in a long while, and when we did have them, only 3 came out, and that was partly due to the World Cup, partly due to exams, and then a break after the World Cup. So don't worry, we are back for the foreseeable future, and we'll be back about once a week now till hopefully, fingers crossed, I go to university. We'll have a kind of have to change things a bit, but yeah, don't worry, for the next 4 weeks you'll have a MLS podcast. So it's really good to be back, to be honest. I have missed a lot of what's been going on. I tried to keep up to date, but with the World Cup, as I mentioned, it's been hard. But the MLS being on Instagram has really helped. The MLS have a very active Instagram page, almost as active as we are at the moment on the commentary box. We can go check that out. There'll be something here-ish. I don't know. I don't know. I'll put something in the description below, most likely. But yeah, they post a lot, so I've been trying to keep up to date with the posts through that, and I've also still got the MLS All-Stars game recorded somewhere on the TV, which I intend to watch still. I know it was about a week ago now, but I haven't got around to watching it. Please don't spoil it for me. But yeah, I'm back, and the MLS has been going on, and today we are going to be doing a podcast about it again. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, when we first started the MLS podcast, it was more about kind of updating you on what has happened in the MLS. And I've had a kind of a rethink about what this podcast should be about. And though it's nice to have the updates, I think it should take up less amount of the podcast, and I really want this to be more of an interactive podcast where I kind of start debates of recent topics and news in the MLS, and where you ask a few questions in each episode, and you can get involved by contacting us your opinions on this, either by commenting in the on the video, by leaving us a tweet on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever. Just try and do whatever you do to get in contact with us regarding these questions I asked in the episode. And then in the next podcast, I'll read out as many as I can. That'd be really fun to do because it helps to interact and makes it a bit more kind of more opinions on the show, because of course it's only me in my Minnesota top at the moment. So that's kind of what the show's going to be about. I hope you like the changes, and I'm just going to go through quickly what topics we'll be talking about today. We're going to be doing 2 topics per podcast, and the first topic will be Alphonso Davies' move to Bayern Munich and Wayne Rooney in America. And of course, if you remember last time, we did a little quiz question at the end of each podcast that will still be occurring at the end of the episode, and just before that we'll just do a quick update. So yeah, let's see how it goes. So Alphonso Davies, the wonder kid at the age of 17, who plays for Vancouver Whitecaps, has made a move in the future to Bayern Munich for an MLS record of $13.5 million, which could go up to $22 million. Yeah, that's a lot of money we're talking for a 17-year-old. Alphonso Davies, the Canadian, has kind of burst onto the scene this year, making his debut in the not this year, but making his debut last year for Canada, and really kind of breaking out into this Vancouver Whitecap side. He has a really humbling story, actually. He was a Liberian refugee. He was born in Ghana, and he made the move to Canada when he was fairly young, and he's been playing football in Canada, and he absolutely loves football. You can see that on his face when he plays, and he just seems such like an energetic player, great to watch. And it's just amazing how he's broken this record, because you want to know the record, or who used to hold the record for the most amount of money bought that has bought a MLS player. Well, that used to be Josie Altidore when he made the move from New York Red Bulls to Villarreal in 2008 for $11.6 million. I know that number is kind of quoted differently in different sources, so I had some trouble finding that out. But I think $11.6 million was kind of the medium estimate of the deal. But yeah, it's taken since 2000. It's been since 2008 since they've been a transfer record broken in that category. So it looks bright for the MLS. And of course, Alphonso Davies, he is extremely happy with this. I think he's been quoted saying, "As a kid, I always dreamed of a moment like this." So it's absolutely wonderful. And again, it's absolutely wonderful for the MLS as well. I think one of the Whitecaps co-owners said this is a landmark transfer for our club, country and league. And it is, because it's about time an MLS player who's playing well gets a good move to a European club, because the MLS is improving and it's been so shocking that this hasn't happened before. But I wish him all the best. He will be staying the rest of the season in the MLS, and we'll be joining up with Bayern Munich in December. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. He's an exciting talent, as I've said before. And now we come on to the 3 questions I kind of want to ask you on this topic. So the first question is, how big of a deal is this for the MLS? Is it really, really big, as in, will this start a trend of young American, Canadian players moving to Europe and to other places for big money? Is it showing that the MLS is improving and therefore it's big? Or is it kind of just a one-off and they've just struck gold almost, and we won't see a transfer like this for another year, a few years? Let me know what you think. Get your opinions down, as I said before, on Twitter and Instagram. The second question is then, how can The second question is, how well can Alphonso Davies do at Bayern Munich? Will he become a great American player, or not American, but a great kind of North American player, because of course he's from Canada, player like the likes of Dempsey, or Junior Hoylett, or Tim Howard, or will he kind of flop? I don't know whether... I think he won't flop. I think it might take him a while to get used to the European game, but I think he'll fit right in and he'll do well. Because we haven't had an American or a Canadian player kind of take the Premier League or any of the top 5 leagues in Europe by storm as of recently, since like Dempsey, as I said earlier. So it'd be interesting to see how he does. Let me know again your opinions. And then the third question is, will he ever get a game at Bayern? Or will he have to wait a few seasons? Will he be loaned out? Because, of course, Bayern are a very, very strong side. And not only are they a strong side, they're a strong side in the position of left winger that he plays in. Because, of course, they have Kingsley Coman already there. They've got Frank Ribéry, the ex-French international, who has a scar, of course. They're Frank Ribéry, who of course is the ex-French international, who can still turn up on his day and be absolutely brilliant. And they've also got Serge Gnabry, the ex-Arsenal player. And that's a lot of decent talent, and I don't think he will be able to get into that team automatically. So I can see him going on loan. And plus, he'll be joining them halfway through the season, where the Bayern Munich players have only played half a season, and he's played a quite lengthy whole season already. So it might take him some time to get used to being at Bayern Munich. So I just want to know your opinions on how long it will take to see him maybe in the first team at Bayern Munich, or will he ever get into the first team, or will it kind of be a selling on kind of deal where Bayern kind of make a profit off of him? Who knows? Let me know. So yeah, and just to be honest, that's it for this kind of topic. I'll just do a little summary in 1 second. So the first question is, how big of a deal is this for the MLS? Is it really, really big, as in, will this start a trend of young American, Canadian players moving to Europe and to other places for big money? Is it showing that the MLS is improving and therefore it's big? Or is it kind of just a one-off and they've just struck gold almost, and we won't see a transfer like this for another year, a few years? Let me know what you think. get your opinions down, as I said before, on Twitter and Instagram. The second question is then, how can Kingsley Coman? The second question is, how well can Alphonso Davies do at Bayern Munich? Will he become a great American player, or not American, but a great kind of North American player, because of course he's from Canada, player like the likes of Dempsey, or Junior Hoylett, or Tim Howard, or will he kind of flop? I don't know whether... I think he won't flop. I think it might take him a while to get used to the European game, but I think he'll fit right in and he'll do well. Because we haven't had an American or a Canadian player kind of take the Premier League or any of the top 5 leagues in Europe by storm as of recently, since like Dempsey, as I said earlier. So it'd be interesting to see how he does. Let me know again your opinions. And then the third question is, will he ever get a game at Bayern, or will he have to wait a few seasons? Will he be loaned out? Because of course Bayern are a very, very strong side, and not only are they a strong side, they're a strong side in the position of left winger that he plays in, because of course they have Kingsley Coman already there. They've got Franck Ribéry, the ex-French international, who has a scar, of course. They're Franck Ribéry, who of course is the ex-French international, who can still turn up on his day and be absolutely brilliant. And they've also got Serge Gnabry, the ex-Arsenal player. And that's a lot of decent talent, and I don't think he will be able to get into that team automatically. So I can see him going on loan. And plus, he'll be joining them halfway through the season, where the Bayern Munich players have only played half a season, and he's played a quite lengthy whole season already. So it might take him some time to get used to being at Bayern Munich. So I just want to know your opinions on how long it will take to see him maybe in the first team at Bayern Munich, or will he ever get into the first team, or will it kind of be a selling on kind of deal where Bayern kind of make a profit off of him? Who knows? Who knows? Let me know. So yeah, and just to be honest, that's it for this kind of topic. I'll just do a little summary in 1 second. So there is no doubt that Alphonso Davies has talent, and he should be an inspiration to all young North American footballers, showing that the MLS is a place where they can grow and develop their talents and show off their talents, and maybe potentially get and seek a bigger move to Europe or elsewhere. And with the brilliant news, of course, that the World Cup in 2026 will be coming to North America, being held in the USA, Canada and Mexico, Alphonso Davies could find himself being in a home World Cup, which would be absolutely brilliant, and he'll be one of the superstars of said World Cup. Of course, he was actually one of the speakers at the event, which was when the World Cup was announced to be held in North America. So I can't wait to see him at that World Cup. I don't know how old I'll be, but I don't know. He'll be in his 20s by then, and it'll be really interesting to see, because he'll be a star, hopefully, by then. But yes, let me know your opinions on those 3 questions, and now we'll go on to our second topic. And the second topic is Wayne Rooney. Yes, Wayne Rooney, age 32 now, has made the move from Everton to DC United, the capital across the pond now. Wayne Rooney has done well so far at DC United. He has scored 1 goal and he has played 5 games. And DC United are looking a bit brighter with him in the team. Of course, they haven't been doing very well so far. They've been languishing quite low in the Eastern Conference, most of the time bottom. But yeah, with Wayne Rooney, they look like a bit more of a side that can do something this year. Of course, they moving into their new stadium, or they moved into the new stadium, Audi. I think it's Audi Field. I have a feeling it is. Yeah, Audi Field, the 20,000-seater stadium. So Rooney will be there, and it'll be good for DC United. But yes, Wayne Rooney has left the Premier League after playing 491 games and scoring 208 goals and getting many amounts of trophies with Man United, and of course playing at Everton. But I don't know if he won any trophies at Everton. But yes, his illustrious career in the Premier League has come to an end, and he has made the trip across the pond, as I said, to the MLS. And this represents a good thing for the MLS. I know it does highlight how European players come over when they're really old and they can't do it anymore in the big leagues. But the fact that these players are still coming over must suggest that they feel it worth their time and effort to play in a league as like this, and it can only grow the Premier League, the MLS, because it means that young players see these top players playing in the MLS and they want to play football more, and they become better footballers because they're playing with such good quality. And even though they might be physically bad, it doesn't mean they don't have it up here still, and they can pass it on to young American, Canadian footballers and improve the league. So for anyone that thinks MLS is a dumping ground for old European players, don't think like that. It's just a way that MLS kind of works at the moment, and we'll see maybe more players coming at their prime, like we did Giovinco at Toronto. So yeah, don't even think about that. But yeah, Rooney has come over across the pond, and I've got a few questions related to him. I've got 3 actually, and the first one is, can he emulate the career of David Beckham? Because he is moving at the age of 32, and David Beckham moved at the age of 32 to the MLS. Of course, he moved to the LA Galaxy. Beckham played 98 games in the MLS, scored 18 goals, and he won 2 MLS Cups and 2 Supporters' Shield with LA Galaxy. I just want to know your opinions on whether Wayne Rooney can have this sort of success in the MLS. I know he's not quite the same stature as Beckham in terms of how many people know him, but he's so close, I'd say. Because, of course, Wayne Rooney's got the same amount of international experience, same amount of kind of world coverage, but just not he might grow in American culture, I guess, Wayne Rooney, I'm just trying to say, but not quite at David Beckham's level, but maybe he can in the future. But yeah, I just want to know how you think he can do in the MLS, and whether he can experience the same success in trophy-wise as David Beckham did. The next question I have is DC United the right club for Wayne Rooney to go to? Of course, he could have gone to probably any MLS team if he wanted to. It was probably just money-wise, potentially, which was stopping him going from other clubs, and maybe because they've already got designated players, because of course he's going to be on a designated contract, a player contract. So there maybe wasn't as many options, but he's obviously chosen DC United for a reason. He might believe that they're a club that can become big again, because of course DC United did used to be a big side. I mean, they did win they have won the MLS a few times. They won the Supporters' Shield in 2007, and they have won the Open Club in 2013, and they've got lots of history behind them. But in more recent times, they've been struggling a tiny bit. I know they've got into playoffs, but they haven't been winning as many trophies as they probably would have liked, being the capital team in the US. And with the new stadium, I reckon Rooney has gone there because he kind of believes in the team, believes in the process of the club building, and it'd be really interesting to see how DC United grow with Wayne Rooney around the club. So yeah, that's my question. Do you think he's gone to the right club? I think he has. And my last question regarding Wayne Rooney is again related to DC United, and I want to know whether you think Rooney can bring silverware to Washington. I think he can. I think a player like Rooney attracts other good players to come to a team like DC United. I think the players around him can learn off of him. He'll make the team obviously a better team on the day, of course, but he'll also make the club ethos better as a kind of club. They've already got decent players at DC United, some good youngsters like Acosta? And these players can potentially thrive being mentored by Rooney. They've, of course, as I said, they've moved into a new stadium, so everything's put in place for them to succeed. And I think Wayne Rooney could potentially win a trophy. Not this year, because it's looking unlikely that they can even get into the playoffs this year, but maybe next year with a couple of signings, with potentially Ben Olsen still as manager. I think that they can win a trophy, or do at least get to the final or something in the MLS or MLS Cup, or even the Open Cup. So that's what I think. Let me know what you think. So that's basically kind of summarises Wayne Rooney's section. Just a quick note, the owners of DC United are also the owners of Swansea. I think it's Steve Claplin and something Levine, not Adam Levine, because of course he's the Maroon 5 singer, but something Levine. Yeah, they're owners of part owners of Swansea as well, and it's just interesting to think that kind of Swansea have some sort of affiliation to Rooney, so maybe Rooney could come on loan at some point in the future to Swansea. I don't know if we would need him potentially, but it'd be interesting to see if that could be a thing. That's just my kind of weird thought in my head. Probably won't happen. Probably don't really want it to happen. Want him to stay in the MLS. I just thought I might share that with you. But yeah, that's the end of the Rooney chat. Do answer these questions and give me your opinions, and I shall try and read them out. I'll do my best to. So yeah, we've talked about Alphonso Davies, a very, very up-and-coming youngster, only 17, and we've also talked about Wayne Rooney, of course, a bit more of an older player, age 32. So it's a nice range of topics this week. So let me know your opinions on the questions. I'll probably have a little screen now of all the questions that I asked, and then I'll have another screen now of how you can get in contact with us. So that brings the discussion element of this podcast to an end. And of course, if you're listening to on iTunes, me just pointing now means nothing to you, so you can look down in the description of the podcast below to look at the questions and the contact details of how to get involved. So now on to the roundup of the MLS. So not a lot has changed since I left about 6 weeks ago for the World Cup, etc., and exams, maybe even 7 weeks ago. I lose track of time sometimes, but yeah, not a lot has changed. In the Eastern Conference, Atlanta United, New York Red Bulls, New York City FC, and Columbus Crew are still kind of the runaway playoff contenders in the Eastern Division, just as I remember before. New England Revolution under Brad Friedel have not continued their form as such. They've done okay, and they're still in a playoff position, but their early brilliant start has somewhat dwindled. Montreal Impact, I remember at the start of the season under Rene Gard, were fairly poor, and I was thinking Rene Gard might be the first manager to be sacked from maybe Ben Olsen at DC United, but he has managed to turn around the Quebec side and get them into a playoff position. They're now in 5th, and I can see them cementing that in the near future. Elsewhere, Toronto FC have still not kind of got into full gear after their North American Champions League run all the way to the final, which was so unlucky not to win. And they still languish down in 9th, and at the bottom we have Chicago Fire, DC United, and Orlando City. I know Orlando City are above Toronto, but I mentioned Toronto just a second ago. But yeah, Orlando are in 8th, Toronto in 9th. And of course, Philadelphia Union, an average season completely all around, they are in 7th. So the Western Conference, again, basically just how I left it. Not me personally, but yeah, just how it left. FC Dallas with Roland Lamar, ex-Swansea player, are top, with Portland Timbers now coming out as second under, of course, Giovanni Cervese, friend of the podcast, in my mind at least. Sporting Kansas City are doing well still. Gone a bit off the boil, but they are still very good for their money. Not money, but good. LAFC, one of the clubs close to my heart. I know this is a Minnesota badge, but imagine it's an LA. I might get an LAFC to top as well. But yeah, LAFC are up in 4th. An okay, very, very good season, to be honest, for them, seeing that they were a expansion team under Bob Bradley. It's good to see them doing well. Sadly, LA Galaxy are also doing well now. I'm not biased, don't worry. But yeah, then Real Salt Lake City have found themselves in the playoffs, actually above Vancouver Whitecaps, who have had a very, very decent seasons in the past few seasons under their manager. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm going to have to search this quickly. What's his name? He's Welsh. I know he's Welsh. Carl Robinson. but they haven't been able to continue their form as such that well. Elsewhere, Seattle Sounders, Minnesota, Houston, Colorado, and San Jose Earthquakes have had average seasons, and that's why they are not in the playoffs at the moment. Now, quickly onto the Open Cup, because I think the final is soon upon us. So yes, the Open Cup has almost reached its climax. In the final, we have Houston Dynamo and Philadelphia Union. Yes, two quite surprising teams, seeing that I mentioned they were fairly average this season, but they have managed to kind of turn around their form in the MLS and brought some good form into the Open Cup. Houston Dynamo have overcome NTX Rados, Minnesota United, Sporting Kansas City, and sadly Los Angeles FC on penalties into their journey to the final, whilst Philadelphia Union have seen off... Sorry, I'm just trying to look. They have seen off... can't find them. They've seen off Richmond Kickers, New York Red Bulls, Orlando City Soccer Club, and Chicago Fire in their route to the final. So that final looks to be a exciting final on September the 26th, 2 days after my birthday, if you didn't know. So, yeah, that's the Open Cup update for you. So before I draw the podcast to an end, we just have our question left to do, and the question is, what MLS teams are based in their state capitals, or in state capitals? So yeah, which MLS teams are based in state capitals? Now for Canada, we are including kind of Ontario as kind of like states, and like British Columbia and Quebec. So have a look, or don't have a look, see if you can do it off the top of your head and let me know. That's another little question, and of course I will reveal the answers at the start of the next podcast next Friday. So yeah, don't forget to give me your opinions on the topics we discussed today. Give me your answer to that question. I hope you have enjoyed today. Go check us out on our Twitter, which is at Box Commentary. Go check us out on our Instagram, which is also at Box Commentary. Of course, you can check out our other podcasts on YouTube and iTunes, etc. So do check that out. I hope you've enjoyed today. I've been Sam Turner. This has been the MLS Podcast. I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope you have been relaxing and chilling this evening listening. So goodbye from me. See ya. Oh, and of course, don't forget to be awesome. See ya. I mean, I don't do a podcast on the MLS for a month, and what happens? Zlatan Ibrahimovic says he wants to be president. I mean, who's trying to steal the limelight, Yeah.